Not a great day, I guess, for Taylor Swift. Kind of a crappy Super Bowl. I don't know. Are they all going like this now in the NFL? Joining me now, Jake Crain, Blaine Crain, and David Cohn, co-hosts of Crain and Company on the Daily Wire, which is highly, highly entertaining. Okay, so Jake, I guess I'll start with you. I haven't really watched the NFL in a few years, which makes me that weird guy at the party now who doesn't know who anyone is. But I went to the Super Bowl party yesterday, and a couple things have apparently changed. There's a white cornerback, and Patrick Mahomes sucks. What happened in the last few years since I stopped watching?
You hopped in at a crazy time, and typically, look, most Super Bowls don't go like that. You know, sometimes it's the flip of a coin. We kind of saw some of that in the college football playoff as well. But I'm going to be honest, overall, the Super Bowl wasn't great. The halftime show was terrible, but they booed Taylor Swift and gave Trump a standing ovation. Part of me feels like America's back a little bit, so you can take some solace, Jesse, into that. Now, as far as the white corner, I mean, we talked about it on Crain and Company. I mean, it's to the point now where we're asking, could this be our version of Jackie Robinson? I don't know. We're going to find out if he keeps doing it. But, he's breaking barriers left and right, and we call him Haru, the Great White Ninja.
All right, I gotta know before we get into the halftime show and the ads and everything else. I gotta know what was on the menu, fellas. Me personally, I was going to a party, so I smoked my world famous queso dip for 3 hours on a smoker. We all know what the hit of the party was. It wasn't the Chuck. It wasn't it was mine. What'd you guys eat?
We had a lot of pizza and wings. Do you want to tell them what one fan said for the pizza? Listen to this, Jesse.
Yeah, we live streamed the Super Bowl from a cigar bar, and sometimes fans and people in the audience will send us food. Somebody decided to send us a barbecue pineapple and anchovy pizza, which is awful. And to be honest with you, I think it's how COVID started.
I mean, I only take issue with the pineapple, though. Yeah, I'm fine with the anchovies on the barbecue sauce.
That's not a serious saying, David. No one said
I love anchovies. I love barbecue
yourself
sauce.
when you say
Don't
that.
put pineapple on there, though. That's where I draw a line.
Did you eat any of the anchovies?
No, I would have taken them off.
Yeah, I bet you would.
No, it's look, we're typically wings and pizza guys, but not with pineapple, anchovies, and barbecue sauce. That's it's just un-American.
Now I want queso, though.
Now I'm hungry.
Well, you got to smoke the queso too, fellas. It's not just enough to have queso. You have to take the time, put the high-quality cheeses like Velveeta in there, and make sure you're really doing something classy. Classy
Only
like
the
I
finest, Jesse. Only the finest.
Okay, so look, you guys are young. I'm old, as you can see. I had to turn to my wife and ask, who is Kendrick Lamar? And I realized, due to the look on her face, I now know that was a stupid question. But apparently this guy's really popular. I have nothing against rap. I'm not much of a rap man myself, but I couldn't understand a single word the guy was saying. I hate to sound like my father, but there was no melody. There was nothing to jam to. It was just... I have no idea what happened during the halftime
show. Absolute straight garbage. Imagine coming to New Orleans for the Super Bowl, the home of Lil Wayne. And yeah, it's not a hip-hop thing. You can't even get someone like Lil Wayne to come out there if you're dead set on hip-hop. 3 solutions, Jesse, to fix the halftime performance. Either one, let Chris Stapleton do it every single year, because if you already love Chris Stapleton, boom, it's a win. If you don't, get ready. You're about to fall in love. Also, we don't need the theatric, right? I don't need dancers. Don't need backup singers. Heck, he doesn't even need a guitar or really even a microphone or a stage. Just put him on the 50-yard line, sing Broken Halos a cappella, and get ready to feel something for a few minutes. Second solution is a different genre artist for everyone who wants to tune in. We can figure out the technology. If you want to listen to country music artists, you switch to the okay,
Beyonce.
We'll stop with the Beyonce. We'll talk about that later. You want to listen to Creed and rock, you can flip to the one that has them as their halftime performer. Or third, we just get rid of it altogether, because elite athletes running into each other for 3 minutes should be entertaining enough.
Well, can we keep the option of Chris Stapleton and Creed? One of the two. We can pick a different one every year if you want to do that. But the thing about Kendrick Lamar is he has great songs. He's a good artist. I mean, go back to his time. The amount of hits this guy has is absolutely ridiculous. You just couldn't understand what he's saying. It sounded like Joe Biden on a debate stage. And I don't even know if you had subtitles up there. They could have even done it. So at some point, Kendrick has good songs. Him and the Drake beef's kind of weird. I'll never get it. I don't want to get it. But can we at least understand what you're saying?
Yeah. Now, look, I really haven't enjoyed a halftime show since Janet Jackson, but that's another story entirely. Let's change the subject and talk about change the subject and talk about one thing I did notice, and I don't know whether this is a thing, so stop watching the friggin' NFL. There was a lot of God talk, and I loved it. Jalen Hurts talking about it. Philly's head coach, I don't know, Nick something talking about it. It seemed like a lot of players were more focused on values, on God, on good things. I realize that's always been present in sports, but I watched the post game at the party I was at. It seemed to be ramped up from what I remember. Is it?
Yeah, we're seeing it a lot more, and it's great. I just wish the NFL marketing would get behind it, because if you look at the way the NFL still markets itself, from a DEI structure, from a left-wing structure, from the pride, element of this, the NFL marketing, the only reason they haven't gone the way of the NBA is because we love football so much. If it was basketball, they'd be going the way of the NBA. But it's so nice to see guys, and listen, believe in what you want to believe. I'm all for that. But having the ability to not have the fear of being able to go out and say it, I think is truly American, and you're kind of seeing a coalescing of that. And I think, you're seeing the amount of guys, NFL and professional athletes, that are coming out and really saying they like Trump. And I think most guys in the NFL voted for him. But I'm all for free speech, freedom of religion, and being able to talk about it. But we're seeing this all over sports, Jesse. It's not just the NFL. You look at college basketball. You look at college football. It's really starting to become normal again. And I'm really excited.
Jake, they took in racism out of the end zone.
No, we beat it.
We're no longer racist.
No, we beat racism. They took it out of the end zone.
And also, Nick Something is a heck of a head coach. He really did.
It is.
In many ways, though, I felt like we were back to my childhood. I mean, one, the sitting president showed up and people cheered. That was great. First time ever. But that's something that when we were growing up, if a sitting president showed up, no matter what party, people would have cheered. Second of all, the game wasn't close. Most of the games growing up, or most of the Super Bowls when I was growing up, they weren't really close games. And then third of all, some of the commercials were funny. Some of them were funny, which they've set the bar so low the past couple of years with no humor whatsoever. When we saw 2 or 3 that made me laugh, I said, maybe we are kind of back.
Worst Super Bowl of all time, though, right? Overall?
I've seen some bad ones, man. I'm older than you.
It was bad. It was bad.
Why wasn't it good? I hate to ask the question like the non-sports guy now, which apparently that's what I've become, which is really, really embarrassing. I'm basically a woman. But I thought the Kansas City Chiefs were supposed to be good. I walk into the party and all my buddies are like, it's going to be a juggernaut game. They've each lost like 1 or 2 games. So why did the game suck?
Yeah, well, Jesse, last year you probably could have got away with saying you're a woman. I think it's starting to change now with kind of the new team. As far as the game goes, it was surprising to us because you didn't think it was going to be a blowout either way. I wasn't going to be shocked if the Eagles won, but it was such a dominating performance at the line of scrimmage up front. And that's where the game is won and lost in football, all the way from the NFL to Friday night tykes, all the way through it. The Eagles didn't have to bring extra guys to add pressure. They rushed for all nights. I don't think they blitzed once when you look back at it. The Chiefs couldn't run the ball. The Eagles could. Saquon wasn't amazing, but they got enough to keep themselves balanced. It was just an overwhelming tsunami of dominance at the line of scrimmage where the game is truly won and lost. And then it started to snowball on the Chiefs, and they just ran out of time. I'm going to be honest with you, though. I think you could have played 16 quarters, and the Chiefs aren't coming back in that game.
No, they were not coming back. That was a beating from the get-go. All right, let's switch this up really quickly. Sports betting. I have nothing against it whatsoever. I've done it on a smaller scale, $5 on the game with a buddy, but it's huge now. The industry itself is enormous. The DraftKings, the advertising. Where do you guys fall on sports betting?
You won $5, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you got a couple of zeros. That actually won $6,000 after the Super Bowl, which is a win for me. I think sports betting is only going to get bigger and bigger. It's to the point now where you don't even have to like the sport to watch it. If you bet on it, you'll watch it. I mean, I watched underwater ping pong last night because it had $15 on it.
That was a heck of a match.
It was a heck of a match. The Chinese ended up winning. That's a surprise there. But betting's only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, more. You got to think. You might have DraftKings. You might have all these big sports books, but there's a lot of sports books under them, and it's only going to expand because people want to bet money even if they don't like the sport. Hell, I went to a hockey game the other day. I don't even like watching hockey, but I bet on it, end up winning $500. So you best believe I'll go back.
Well, Jesse, we bring this point up all the time. Here's what I don't understand. Like, I'll give you, there's certain states in the South that have a lottery, but they don't allow sports betting. If you could somehow sit down and hold my hand like a 5-year-old and explain to me how the lottery's not bad, but sports betting is bad, I would really love to hear that. And if you believe that, there's some beachfront property in Kansas that I've got a great deal on to a buddy of mine that we split the profits on. It just shocks me that those two things one can exist and one cannot exist in the same state.
And like everything else in life, the way you engage with it in moderation, that really is the key to it.
Yeah, bet responsibly.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to go blowing the whole family fortune there. All right, Jake, tell me about this non-woke sports show.
Yeah, man, look, again, if you're a sports fan out there and you grew up kind of in the era we did, like this wasn't even a conversation. Like the old school sports centers, before Keith Olbermann, started acting like they need to send him to Shutter Island. It's really trying to give people the sports show that they grew up with. Because look, there's culture and are times where culture and sports touch each other, and we hit these things. We talk about NIL, obviously the men and women's sports thing. We did a movie, Lady Ballers, for the Daily Wire on it. It's such a crazy thing. But when we do the sports show, we want to give you something that is common sense, right? You hear this all the time now. Common sense is back in play, where it's great sports analysis. We're going to tell you our opinion when it touches culture. And a lot of times it's going to be common sense, and we're not afraid to say things. But it's kind of going back in the time machine, back to when we grew up, where you watch sports to get away from all the craziness, right? Where the craziness is just the vitriol through the fans, not everybody being divided because of what they look like. And to me, that's the best part about sports is the fastball doesn't care if you're Hispanic or Asian or white. The football doesn't care if you're straight, gay, or whatever. We're just trying to give people that avenue back like we grew up and what helped us fall in love with.
Fellas, appreciate you very much. We need a sports show like that. Gosh, I miss the old sports center. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.